Never thought that I would be sharing this. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Shalinda, and today I will be sharing something very close to my heart, my testimony. This is a journey of challenges, faith, but ultimately leaning on God. So I hope that this testimony inspires you and encourages you. If you're new here, don't forget to like and subscribe to join this faith-driven community. I would love to have you. Okay, life before Christ. So, my life before Christ, I've always knew of God, but I never had a relationship with God. I grew up in a Christian household. My parents, they met very young when they were about 14 years old, and they got married when they were around, 21 years old. And they were very young when they started their faith, but when they had me, I grew up in the church as a little girl, but I didn't really remember going because I was so young. Some things happened in the church during, their own experiences where they just stopped attending physically the church, and, they continued to believe in God. So I always had that foundation, but going to church wasn't really a part of my life growing up. I always just knew of God and Jesus. I knew he was real, but I just didn't have a relationship with God or really grasp who Jesus really was. I started to attend church about my junior and senior year of high school, me and my family. And then from there, I went off to college. I went to Florida State University, Tallahassee, Party Town. Junior and senior year, I was a part of a Christian, it was a women's Christian organization called She's Bad. Blessed Anointed Daughters, that's what it was, She's Bad at FSU. I joined that community junior year and senior year of college. I was still in the world, in college, in a relationship, fornicating, the whole nine, drinking, partying, So still knew of God, but not a relationship with God. So that's where I was spiritually as far as my relationship with God. As far as emotionally before Christ, I was very broken, tired, just emotionally drained, tired of trying to do things on my own. Like I mentioned, I was in a relationship. I was in a relationship with my child's father for about 10 years. We met in college. That was a time. That was a time. It was not healthy for the both of us. When I began that relationship, not, putting on me, I began to, drink, smoke, and it just was not healthy. It was not good. In that relationship, it just started to become toxic as the years went on. It was emotionally, mentally, and physically abusive. And I stayed much longer than I should have, but that's because, I was idolizing a man, idolizing a relationship. Ever since I was young, I wanted to have what my parents have. Like I said, they met when they were 14, and I just always wanted to be married. So I kind of always gravitated to the guy that I was dating, and this was the longest relationship I had. We started freshman year of college, and we dated all throughout college, and after graduation, in total, it was almost about 10 years. I stayed much longer than I should have. I was very codependent. I became very jealous and insecure. It was just a lot. Looking back, I can say I didn't know who I was. I didn't know whose I was. So again, that just led me to be very codependent, jealous, insecure in myself. I didn't see the beauty in me. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know whose I was, and I was idolizing men. So that's what happened when God is not in his rightful place. So in a nutshell, that's where I was before Christ, emotionally and spiritually, and also I guess physically. That's where I was. Also, I did want to make a point to say this. During that relationship, I did have 2 abortions, which I'm not proud of. I have since then repented. I know that the blood of Jesus speaks better things than the blood of Abel, and that every ordinance that was written against me is blotted out by his blood. So I'm not condemned. I don't condemn myself. I know the Lord has forgiven me, and I've moved on from that. But yeah, that was something that took place. Again, idolatry of man wanting to, not even just man too, like the first time I wanted a career. I wanted to graduate college and be successful. So sacrificing blood for money and success, it it's I didn't know the weight of that sin, but thankfully, Jesus came and rescued me. He opened my eyes to a lot of things. I was able to repent and just be washed from, all of the iniquities and transgressions that I committed. So, and if you have anything similar to that, you feel condemned, please don't. Know that no sin is too big for God. He literally died on the cross for all of our sins, and he can redeem you just like he redeemed me. So yeah, I just needed to make a point to that because I'm being transparent. And he says that we will be freed by the blood of the Lamb and our testimony. So I pray this frees somebody. So the turning point for me was, I just got to a point of, just like I said, I was tired. At this point, I believe I was doing my MBA program online for the University of Florida, and also I was a new mom. So, and this was during COVID as well. I got pregnant during COVID. I had him during COVID, 2020. A lot happened that year. I started my MBA program that year. I was working from home, but also on maternity leave. It was just a lot going on. Breastfeeding, motherhood, it was a lot. And then still I was in a relationship and the things that went with that. I was just tired, and I was also tired of not having a consistent relationship with God. Like I said, I knew of him, but I just was not consistent. I felt like there would be times where I would seek God, but then I would fall off. I would seek God, and then I would fall off. And I was just tired of doing that. So at one point I talked to my best friend, and I really admired her walk with the Lord, her families. They were just always different. I knew it was always something different about them. And it was because they were Christian. But yeah, I was always drawn to my friend, and I asked her to keep me accountable. I want to do things differently this year. I want to be consistent. That was my main thing. I was I want to be consistent. I see your relationship with God. I want something like that. And she did. She held me accountable. And thankfully, churches were online now because of the time. So I started to tune in to her church online. I would just listen to the Zoom session, the church services on the weekend, and then also the Bible studies on Wednesdays. So I'd be cooking or doing mom stuff, whatever I'm doing. I just have my earbuds in, and I was just getting closer to God that way. And during this time, I started to something was shifting in my heart within my relationship. Like I said, I was codependent, but now at this point, and probably also it comes with being a mom, but I know it definitely was me focusing on God, seeking God, being more intentional. I started to not be codependent anymore. I started to not feel that in my soul, in my heart, that gut punch in the heart when he's gone doing stuff with his friends and not with me or whatever. I started to be okay with being alone or just being me and Max. I was good. I started something just different just started to shift in me. I started to kind of detach myself emotionally, although we were in the same roof, under the same roof. At one point we had a setback as far as where we were living, but at this point we were in a really nice apartment. We both had nice cars, decent cars. We both had good jobs, and things were coasting. There wasn't turmoil how there was in the past, but it just still was unhappy. It was still very there were unhealthy habits in the household, and I just I was settling. I know I was settling. I know I was unhappy, but I started to be okay with, okay, well, I guess I'll just be okay with being roommates with him, I guess, because it's been how many years and we're not married. I started to be okay with not being married. I started to be okay with if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. I just started to be okay. Okay, I guess this is my life. I guess I'll never have that romantic, happy love that I always longed for or imagined. But then one day there was a turning point. There was a turning point. like I said, during this time, there wasn't much going on, but a shift happened one day when I was accused of something that I didn't do. Um, Something happened, and I mean, I'm not going to share all the details today. Maybe at some point I'll share more details, but not to like condemn anybody or like expose anyone, because I'm not trying to do that. That's not what it's about. I just want to like share as much as I need to encourage, inspire, uplift, help somebody else. A turning point happened. I realized, God, this is not what you have for me, but I don't know how to get out of this, Lord. Like, something happened where, like, it's just, I knew that this was not healthy for me and my child. Like, nobody could no longer convince me that this was good and healthy for my child. Like, something, I don't know if this is everyone, but for me, like, before, like, I know I stayed much longer than I should have, but the fact that, like, now I have somebody else to think about, it's like, okay, I'm not playing no games. I can't tolerate what I tolerated in the past because I have this child to live for. And I'm not about to, yeah. So my mindset shifted. A turning point happened. And that week I fasted and I was praying, worshiping God every morning, crying out to him. And I'm just like, God, like, I know this is not what you have for me, but I don't know how to leave. I don't know how to get out of this. I don't know what to do. I know this is not what you have for me, but I don't know how to get out of this. Like, the guy that I was with, very intelligent, book smart, just very intelligent. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this without like there being a reason. So I remember like my prayer, like my desperate prayer, I'm just like, God, I need you to make something happen, but don't let me get hurt. Like, make something happen where both of us know like it's a wrap, that this is done, but Lord, don't let me get hurt. So that week I actually joined this, I saw on YouTube this, you know what, let me go back real quick. Okay, we got time. It's the testimony, because I just thought of something else. During that week, let me also say this, let me be transparent, because I wasn't just like fasting and praying how I fast and pray now. I was fasting because at this point, I wanted to change my style, because now I'm a mom. I'm trying to dress differently. So there was a nice young lady that I found on YouTube who has like just all things elegance. I believe her name is Anna B. I believe just being an elegant, feminine woman, wanting to be, classy. I'm trying to rebrand myself as a mom. I ain't trying to, be dressed like how I used to dress. Not that it was horrible, but I mean, at some point, when I was in college, it wasn't giving mom. So I was just trying to like, be different. And I also was trying to look beautiful around the house for my man. So, not saying that he's not a man, but oh Lord forgive me. But I mean, I was in a relationship that was not being honored by God. So that's what I mean by man. But because he was not mine. It was for the streets. Okay, let me stop. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I was fasting because one of the things she recommended was to like intermittent fast, just to like, I think I was maybe trying to lose weight, maybe a little bit of mom weight or something. I don't know. I just know I was intermittent fasting, and then also like I was worshiping God that week. And this lady, she had a testimony of a woman who took her course. And I watched the testimony, and it really resonated with me because her testimony, she was a believer of Jesus Christ as well. She was a mom to, I believe it was like a 2-year-old son at that time. I think my son was maybe 1 going on 2, and her son was maybe 2 going on 3 or something like that, but very close in age. And she was married, and she was saying that, she got to a breaking point. It was very abusive. She was on a wall. Her husband had her pinned to a wall. He was just spitting in her face. And she was saying to herself, Lord, if you get me out of this, I'm going to leave and never look back. God delivered her from that. And she took off. She left everything. She was living like a really good, comfortable life. She left everything and just took off with her son and went to a women's shelter. And also, as she's saying it, she was like, yeah, I found God. I was seeking him more. And then through that, I met my now husband. He's a great father to my son, Maximus. And I was like, I had to pause it. I was like, hold on. I remember I was driving in my car listening to this, and I'm just like, oh, hold on, Lord, because this is for me. This is for me. I mean, I've heard, people whose kid's name is Max, but usually it's like Maximilian or Maxwell, but Maximus. It was just wild. It was just like I knew God was talking to me. And then she was saying like, I'm young, I look good, I'm attractive, I can start over. And it was just like those simple words. I'm like, oh my God, I am beautiful. I'm young. I can start over. It was that, like, I needed to hear that, and it resonated with me. Like, I needed that. Like, people's testimonies really, you really are freed by people's testimonies. I needed to hear that. It might sound so simple, but it's like it clicked, like something clicked in my head where I'm just like, my whole mindset changed. Like, I can do this, because the enemy was really like messing up my head to make me think that no one will ever want me. Like, I will be a single mom. Who would want me? Who would want somebody who breastfed? Like I'm not that cute. Like, just really making me think that I'm not. That it's just wow. And I know who I am and whose I am, and that I am a catch, obviously. But I did not think that. I did not. The enemy was working overtime, but God, come on, he has no rival. He has no equal. Like, my father had me the whole time, and I didn't even know it. I love him. So that testimony helped me. And then also on YouTube, I think around that same time that week, I saw that it was like one day that week. It was this. Okay, let me slow down. I saw an ad for narcissist abuse. Why can't I leave? It was like a seminar, online seminar, and it was happening the day that I saw it. It was free, so I signed up because I remember like hearing that word narcissist. I didn't know what it was. A couple months before I got pregnant with Max, like I was like, dang, I think he's a narcissist, and he didn't deny it, but I don't know. I just kind of. That's a story for another time. Anyways, it kind of just went out the window. I didn't really think about it. And then, like, on YouTube around this time, that popped up again. I'm like, oh, yeah. Let me sign up for this. Signed up for it. And, I mean, I was just like, oh, my gosh. This dude is a textbook narc. But it was freeing because it was other people who was in a similar situation. And it's just, like, just learning about it. It's like, dang, from day one, like, it was just... I ain't got to get into all of that, but it was very freeing. At the end of the seminar, they had coaches, and if you want a coach, you can sign up for a session, and we'll help you, figure out an escape plan. So I signed up for a coach. I signed up for a session with a coach to figure out my escape plan, and my session was that Saturday. Say this is probably like a Tuesday or a Wednesday or something, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It was the beginning of the week. I can't recall. I have to go back and look at, timestamps or something. But my session was like that Saturday. And this was the week that I was fasting. I was asking God to move me. And I wasn't talking to him this whole week because of what had happened that Sunday. I was silent that whole week because it was just... I was at my breaking point. I was not talking to him. So, fast forward to, I believe it was that Friday of that week. He was just trying to get my attention, like doing things around the house, trying to turn on different, videos that I would laugh at or whatever. And I just wasn't really, I was like, not really here for it. Time to put Max to bed. I put Max to bed. I fall asleep in his bed. And then, he wakes me up to have a talk. And then that's when events transpired where God moved. And he answered my prayers. He let something happen where I did not get hurt. But it was enough for me to call his aunt. Because last time anything happened, I was like, she asked if anything happens, to call them first. Because before I would call my parents and I would not tell them a lot of details at all. Because if I did, I got a big brother. I have a father, I didn't want anyone getting hurt. That's what I was thinking. I was trying to protect him. So, but this time, I was at my breaking point. Things were different. I called my dad because his aunt was there. And as soon as she got there, I was freaking out, telling her, kind of gave her a quick rundown of, okay, this is what's been happening for this whole time. And I'm scared. I'm scared to go inside. Anyway, she went inside, was kind of talking to him. Dude was asleep. And long story short, I remember Psalms 23, so that's what I was like whispering to myself as like the three of us kind of talking. It was going like kind of nowhere, and I'm just like saying Psalms 23 to myself, and also on the phone with my best friend, trying to let her hear just in case like something happens. And then I just felt led. I'm like, I need to call my dad. I need to call my parents. So I called my dad and I told him, I'm like, I need y'all to come get me. And when I tell you this was the quickest that they got there, I was living in like Tampa, Brandon area, and my parents are in St. Pete, so it's like maybe at least a 30-minute drive, but I don't know, they got there in like 20 minutes. It seemed like it was like 15 minutes, but it was like 20 minutes. They got there quick. Same time they got there, the authorities got there. Like, it was just the way God moved. It was the most peaceful like split that could have happened. Anyways, I spoke to the police. I hadn't told anybody what had really happened. I just told my parents to come. I was embarrassed, didn't want to tell them anything, but it got to a point where I was just like, I just want to leave and take my kid. But then they were like, you know, you can't just leave and take your kid. And I was like, well, I don't feel comfortable. And it's like, then also, I don't feel safe. It was like, you know, there's a difference between not feeling comfortable and not feeling safe. So what's going on that you don't feel safe? And I'm like, I'm not trying to say it in front of these people. And it was like, do you want to talk privately? And I'm like, yes, please. So I told them what happened. One thing led to another, and they spoke to him as well. And they were like, yeah, probable cause. And I left with my parents that night. I took my son. We took as much as we could, because my dad has a truck. So packed him up and I went to my parents' house, and I've been here ever since. Now, you don't see, but I'm still here in my parents' house with my son. This is my little condo, what you call it? What's it called? Loft area. It's been remodeled. Maybe, one day I will post a video of the before and after, because this was our den and it did not look like this. It was a full transformation. But more on that. I mean, it's just a lot to unpack. So I left, and there was like a no contact order put in place automatically. And throughout the whole process, people were telling me, like the attorneys that I was working with, the free attorneys that I was working with, domestic violence, like attorneys and assistants, and just the different people who had their hands in the situation. Everybody was just like very surprised that there was like an automatic no contact order. They're like, this never happens. And I'm just like, dang, well, like, glory to God. Because I know if there was not a order put in place, I most likely would have went right back and just sucked right back in. So I needed that to happen. Like, God, he moved. Like, it was unfortunate he didn't get to see his son for like a couple of months. Like, I didn't want that to happen, but it just played out that way. And we were in and out of court for a couple of things. We landed on, eventually 50-50 custody, and co-parenting has been well. It's been peaceful. God has healed me a lot very quickly. I pray for him. And it's a peaceful co-parenting situation. I wish nothing but the best for him. I sincerely pray for him. I genuinely care and love him. Not like romantic love, but like I love him and really want to like just see him be well for himself and for Max and just for, his generation and stuff. So like no hard feelings towards him. And I think that's part of the reason like why I also stayed so long. Like I was the type of person to like not really take things personal. It's like I know like, you have things that you're going through. I see the struggles of your life. I see, and like my heart goes out to you. So that's why I would stay so long. But that wasn't my job to do. Only Jesus can heal. So I finally had to take my hands off of it. And now I know that like, prayer changes everything. So I just pray for him. I pray for him. Sincerely, I do. Life after Christ. So, life after Christ. If I had to sum up a life after Christ, and after him delivering me from my Egypt is what I call it. Because literally he split the waters and just made it just so peaceful for me. Peace. That's the one word I would use if I would describe life after Christ. Peace. I love it here. I mean, it's been a journey, but it's always been peaceful. I mean, it only gets more peaceful. And I'll have to give you, in other videos, I'll give more details on what my life after that has been like. Because there certainly has been some counterfeits. There has been some counterfeits, not many. Just what, two, and then a couple that try to like pop up, which I already know is like no, no, no. But yeah, counterfeits, also like gaining friendships, losing relationships, being in church, leading a church, just a lot. But more than anything, I've just had peace, like leaning on him. Life has color. I don't know if y'all have heard people say that before, but it's like when God delivered me, it's like the grass is greener, the sun is shining, life has color. There's joy in like the simple things. Oh, the sun feels great. I mean, the sun always felt great, but the sun feels great. The wind against my skin feels great. I just love like listening to worship music in my car with my sunroof, just with my hand out in the window. Just, yes, y'all see the light. But no, life has been so peaceful. He has moved through my family. My family has turned around like 100%. Like, it's amazing, because that's the whole thing too. I'll have to go into that. But before, like, the household, it wasn't like chaotic, but chaotic. It wasn't like chaotic, but it wasn't like what it is now. I mean, he has moved through my family. Holy Ghost has had his way. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see. So I'm just so thankful. I'm so blessed, and I'm just so happy to be doing this life with Jesus. Ain't no other way to do it, to be honest. Some encouragement, no matter where you are in your life right now, know that God has a purpose for your life. He is calling you. He wants a relationship with you. And I mean, he's there. He's always been there. Just lean on him. Seek him. Just open up your heart to him. Open up your heart to receive him. Sit down and just be vulnerable. Just be vulnerable. Just open up and just have a genuine conversation with Jesus. A part of how I got close to God was just opening my heart and being vulnerable, and he answered. Like that song says, I sought the Lord and he heard and he answered. Like literally, I sought him, he heard, and he answered. And then it's just like, dang, you are real, for real. And it's no turning back. And then after that, I've done different things. Like I went on a 30-day fast, just to like seek the Lord's voice for myself. That's a whole nother story. Listening to too many people and too many videos on YouTube and not knowing how to discern God's voice for myself. More on that. Maybe I'll link the video that kind of guided me to like go on that fast. Maybe I'll link it in the description, or like put a PDF of just the different things that I did during that time to help me grow closer to God and like hear his voice on my own. That really helped propel my relationship with him. So again, just know that God has a purpose for you. Trust him, just lean onto him, and just know that he done it for other people, he can do it for you. Like, he leaves the 99 for the one, and that's you. If you don't already know him, trust me, he wants you. He created you, he wants you. So he won't get no rest until he gets his child. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. If you made it this far, God bless you. God bless you anyway, even if you didn't. Thank you for listening, tuning in, and I pray for you all to, just continue to seek God. I pray you have a great day, rest of the week, and I hope that you just like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more videos and to stay connected to this channel. All right. Thank you. Bye. See you next time.